Doctor, I can't believe how quickly I've grown weaker.
I want you to know this. Your body is never too old to change. It only needs the right kind of activation.
That's what I often say when I begin a consultation with new patients, those who were once strong and active, but now feel as if their legs no longer obey them. I'm Dr. Noah Jupe, a physiotherapist in London who specializes in mobility and strength restoration for adults over 50. Over the past 20 years, I've met hundreds of patients from former athletes to those who simply wish to walk through the park without back pain, knee stiffness, or balance issues. And almost all of them have said the same thing to me.
Doctor, I can't believe how quickly I've grown weaker.
The story of Mr. Peter Harris, age 67, is a perfect example. He used to be a mechanic, a job that required both endurance and agility. But when he first walked into my clinic, his steps were heavy, his shoulders slumped, and one hand instinctively supported his knee. He said,
"Doctor, I used to lift full toolboxes without a problem. Now, even bending to pick up my shoes sends pain shooting through my knee."
I suppose it's just age, isn't it?
I looked at him and replied gently, "No, Peter, it's not age. It's simply that your body has weakened because it hasn't been trained the right way." This is one of the most common misconceptions I encounter. Many people believe joint pain, leg weakness, or poor posture are natural parts of aging. But in truth, these issues often come from muscle loss and instability, especially around the hips, thighs, and knees, the core foundation of movement. When these muscles weaken, the entire body loses balance. You begin to feel heavier when walking, struggle with stairs, or tire just from standing too long. I told Peter about a study from Oxford University, which found that adults over 60 lose an average of 1–2% of muscle mass each year without strength training, and that this doubles the risk of falling. The good news, I explained, is that muscle can still be rebuilt at any age, as long as you activate it correctly. I asked him, "Peter, what kind of exercises are you doing now?" He replied,
I walk most mornings, and sometimes I do light squats. But my knees hurt even more afterward.
I smiled and said, "Walking is great, but it's not enough. And while squats can help, doing them incorrectly puts too much pressure on your joints. What your body needs isn't intensity, it's precision. You need movements that rebuild strength without damaging your knees." I introduced him to what I call the Power 3, three foundational dumbbell exercises designed specifically for adults over 50. These movements strengthen the lower body, improve balance, and reduce joint pain, all without needing a gym or heavy weights. You only need a pair of light dumbbells and 20 minutes a day. I told him, "We're not training to become bodybuilders, Peter. We're training so your legs can take you wherever you want to go steadily, confidently, and pain-free." I've always believed that the strength of your legs is the most accurate measure of biological age. You can look young and sound sharp, but if you can't stand tall or walk confidently, your body is aging faster than you realize. On the other hand, if your legs are strong, you can climb stairs, garden, travel, and most importantly, remain independent. I also told him about another patient, Mrs. Helen Morris, age 71, who thought she'd never walk long distances again because of severe knee arthritis. After 8 weeks of doing the Power 3, she could climb to the second floor without holding the railing and even joined a light dance class with her husband. She told me,
"Doctor, I thought I'd lost my youth forever, but it turns out I'd just stopped moving the right way."
I smiled at Peter and said, "The same thing will happen to you if you're ready to start." He nodded, a spark of hope in his eyes. Then I added, "In the next part, I'll show you the 3 simple but powerful movements that help Peter Harris regain his strength. You can do them at home, no fancy equipment, no gym membership, just correct form and consistency." I know that many people watching this might relate to Peter's situation, feeling tired, weak, or afraid to climb stairs. But I want you to know this: your body is never too old to change. It only needs the right kind of activation. If you'd like me to send you a step-by-step guide for these 3 lower body strengthening exercises, make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a comment with the number 1 below. Because in the next part, I'll show you exactly how I help Peter stand strong again and how you can do the same, right from your own home. When I first started training Mr. Peter, he was still quite hesitant. He said, "Doctor Jupe, I've been walking for years, And now you're telling me I have to learn to walk again? That's hard to believe. I smiled. Not learn again, Peter. We're simply teaching your body to remember how to move properly the way it was designed to. I always tell my patients this. Strength recovery doesn't begin in the gym. It begins with understanding your body. When you know which muscles are weak and which movements are off, you can naturally retrain them. In Peter's case, the problem was mainly in his thighs and hips, particularly the quadriceps, and more specifically, the VMO, vastus medialis oblique, a small muscle located just above the knee. It plays a crucial role in stabilizing the kneecap and absorbing shock during movement. I said to him, Peter, when that muscle weakens, every step, even standing up from a chair, puts extra stress on your knee. But the good news is, with just a few gentle movements, we can wake it up again. It is their ode. We began with the first exercise, the dumbbell step-up. I asked him to place a sturdy chair in front of him and hold 2 light dumbbells. Step up with your right foot, push through that leg to lift your body, and make sure your knee doesn't pass your toes, I instructed. Then, slowly step back down and switch legs. At first, he wobbled slightly, struggling to find balance. I walked closer, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said softly, "Take it slow, Peter. What matters isn't how many reps you do, it's whether you can feel your thigh muscles working." After a few minutes, he was breathing heavily but smiling. "My thighs are burning," he said. "Feels like they've finally woken up." I nodded. "Exactly. That's your body responding. Your muscles are reactivating." A week later, I noticed his steps were already firmer. The second exercise I introduced was the dumbbell Romanian deadlift, RDL. This one strengthens your hips and hamstrings, the muscles that protect your knees from excessive strain, I explained. I showed him how to stand tall, hold the dumbbells in front of his thighs, slightly bend his knees, and push his hips backward as he lowered the weights to mid-shin level, then rise again. "Imagine you're closing a door with your hips, not bending your back," I said. "All the movement comes from your hips." At first he swayed a little, but soon he got the form right. "Feel that stretch in your hips?" I asked. He nodded, sweat on his forehead. "And my back doesn't hurt like when I bend over anymore." I smiled. "That's because you're moving correctly now. Strong hips protect your spine, and strong hamstrings relieve pressure from your knees." The third exercise was the goblet squat, a safer variation of the traditional squat. I told him to hold a single dumbbell in front of his chest, feet shoulder-width apart, inhale and lower slowly, then push back up through his heels. "Focus on control," I said. "You don't need to go too low, just enough to feel your thighs and glutes working." After 10 reps, he leaned back against the wall, breathing heavily. "I didn't think holding such a small weight could be this tough." I laughed. "That's because now you're doing it right. Your body is learning coordination. Again, legs, hips, back, everything moving together in balance." I call these 3 movements the Power 3, the foundational strength routine for people over 50. They don't just build muscle, they also improve neuromuscular stability, the body's ability to react, balance, and protect itself. Research from Cambridge University shows that adults who maintain strength training 3 times a week can reduce fall risk by 45% and increase bone density by 8% in just 3 months. After 3 weeks, Peter walked into my clinic looking completely different. "Doctor," he said with excitement, "yesterday I walked around the park without stopping once. I even carried my grandson for a few minutes, no back pain at all." I grinned. "That's the reward for training correctly. Your body isn't just recovering, it's regaining confidence." I've always believed that physical strength and mental strength are deeply connected. When your body feels stable, your mind becomes more confident too. "Peter," I said, "the most important thing now is consistency. Muscles don't care how old you are, they only respond to what you do regularly." I gave him a simple routine. Every morning after his tea, perform these 3 exercises for 15 minutes. No rush, no strain, just steady repetition. I also asked him to note how he felt each day, when his knees hurt less, when stairs became easier. 2 weeks later, he sent me a message. "Dr. Jupe, this morning I helped my wife in the garden without taking a break. I think my legs are coming back to life." I smiled reading that. For me, there's no greater joy than seeing a patient regain trust in their own body, something many lose with age. In the next part, I'll share with you the second key to recovery, nutrition and restoration. Because no matter how well you train, If you don't fuel and nourish your body correctly, your progress will only go halfway. You'll learn how to eat to build muscle, reduce inflammation, and keep your knees moving smoothly just like they did years ago. Once Peter had mastered the 3 foundational exercises, I began helping him understand that true strength doesn't just come from movement, it also comes from how you nourish your body. I told him, Peter, the body is like a machine. If you don't give it the right fuel, it can't recover no matter how good the engine is. One morning, after finishing his goblet squats, he asked me, Dr. Jupe, I feel stronger now, but my knees still ache a little sometimes. Am I overdoing it? I smiled. Not at all, Peter. Your body is simply asking for something else: proper nutrition and recovery. I explained that to rebuild muscle and keep the joints healthy, there are 3 essential nutrients he needed to focus on: protein, omega-3, and vitamin D. Protein helps build and repair muscle, I said. Omega-3 reduces inflammation in your joints, and vitamin D allows your bones to absorb calcium more effectively. If any of these are missing, your recovery will slow down. We looked as opposite. Together, we adjusted his diet. Breakfast, boiled eggs and Greek yogurt. Lunch, grilled salmon or chicken with leafy greens and brown rice. Dinner, lentils, vegetable soup, and a warm glass of milk. I also encouraged him to spend at least 15 minutes in the morning sunlight, explaining that natural sunlight helps the body produce vitamin D, a key factor in bone and joint strength. He laughed. Doctor, that sounds like a professional athlete's meal plan. No his service meeting them. I replied, that's because you're training too. Peter, only your goal isn't a medal, it's independence. After 2 weeks on this plan, he told me his body felt as if it was running more smoothly. He was less fatigued, sleeping better, and the knee pain had noticeably reduced. I explained. When you sleep well, your body releases growth hormones. They repair muscle tissue and cartilage. Sleep is the secret gem most people forget. In his one instead, I taught him a simple bedtime routine. Switch off electronics, listen to soft music, and practice the 4-6-8 breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 6, and exhale for 8. A week later, he said, I haven't slept this well in years. I wake up feeling lighter, and my knees don't ache anymore. I nodded. That means your body is truly recovering. Exercise is the signal, but rest is when the body actually does the work. Id no have a rud of Valos in Salomon, old Tomans of the rudder women's of Valos. I also encouraged him to stay active throughout the day, with small daily movements: rise onto his toes while brushing his teeth, roll his shoulders while making tea, or stand and walk a few steps during TV breaks. These tiny habits, I explained, keep the blood flowing and joints flexible. He laughed. Doctor, my wife says I look like I'm dancing around the kitchen. I grinned. That's perfect, Peter. It means your body is alive, not just existing. This Noah's leaving was a bread bought by the Martage Phil. Bosinga Black Sile in Markley. 3 months later, he returned to the clinic, walking tall and smiling confidently. He said, I'm not just stronger, doctor. I feel free again. I nodded. And that's exactly what we're aiming for, not just fitness, but freedom. In the final part, I'll show you how to bring everything together: movement, nutrition, and rest into one simple but sustainable routine, so you can maintain strength, flexibility, and confidence in every step you take, no matter your age. A few months later, Peter returned to my clinic, this time without his cane. He walked in straight and confident, his eyes bright with energy. Doctor, he said, smiling, this morning I walked around the park for almost an hour without any pain. I feel young again. I laughed. It's not the park that's changed, Peter, it's you. What mattered most wasn't just that his knee pain was gone, but that he had regained his confidence and joy. His progress came not from luck or miracles, but from small, consistent habits, a few simple exercises, balanced meals, and proper rest. I explained to him that everything he'd done was part of what I call the golden circle of health: movement, nutrition, and rest. When these 3 elements work in harmony, the body naturally repairs itself and grows stronger. Movement keeps you flexible and balanced, I said. Nutrition gives your body the fuel to rebuild, and rest allows it to recover and grow. To keep him on track, I gave him a simple 20-minute daily formula. 5 minutes of gentle stretching in the morning, 10 minutes of light strength or balance training during the day. 5 minutes of breathing or relaxation before bed. Only 20 minutes a day, I told him. You don't need to push hard, just stay consistent, said Operdongar. A few weeks later, Peter sent me a photo of himself walking hand in hand with his wife, captioned, "Still walking, still living." I smiled when I saw it. That's the real reward of my work, not just healing pain, but helping people feel alive and independent again. I often tell my patients, health isn't a finish line, it's a daily journey. You don't have to change everything at once. Just start small, take a short walk after sitting, breathe deeply for a few minutes, or add a little more water to your day. Small steps, done daily, create lasting results. As I looked at Peter, I said, "Your body did the work, you just kept going." He smiled. "I never thought I could feel this strong at 68. Thank you, doctor." I replied, "Don't thank me, Peter. You simply reminded your body how capable it truly is. Is one a great there? And now, I want to remind you too, no matter your age, your body can still change, heal, and thrive. If you'd like a full guide to these exercises and habits, leave a comment with number 1, follow, and subscribe. Because health isn't about perfection, it's about persistence, and your journey can start today.